You never listen. She didn't throw the plate because she wanted to. She threw it because she couldn't speak anymore. The sound of shattering ceramic echoed through the kitchen like a gunshot. Shards scattered at her husband's feet as he stood frozen by the stove, spatula in hand. He didn't even turn around. Just kept watching the eggs sizzle in the pan, too dry, too salty, as always. Like everything in their house these past few months. Barely edible, but soulless. Do you even hear what I'm saying? Linda's voice trembled, not from tears, but exhaustion. From having to squeeze every word out like blood from stone. Mark finally turned. His gaze was calm. Almost indifferent. I hear you. You're starting again. Again? You call this again? This isn't again, Mark. It's every damn day. She wasn't shouting. Not now. The shouting had left her a month ago, the day their son first said, "You both drive me crazy." Since then, she'd spoken softer, but each word hit like a blow. Mark turned off the stove and set the pan on the table. You want me to leave? I want you to see us. Me and Elliot. Not just live under the same roof like a roommate who doesn't care. He didn't answer. Just grabbed a rag and started picking up the shards, slowly, carefully, as if he were handling something fragile inside himself, something he was terrified of crushing completely. It hadn't started with yelling. Not with accusations. It began with silence. First, the little things. Elliot stopped sharing how his day went. Then he stopped eating dinner with them. Then he started locking his bedroom door. Linda noticed how he'd stare at his phone like he was searching for something he couldn't find at home. She'd try to talk. He'd reply in monosyllables, fine. Nothing. Don't want to talk. Mark insisted adolescence was just a phase. That it'll pass. That he just needs space. Space? Linda had snapped. He's not a plant, Mark. He's 17, and he feels alone in his own home. And you think it's easy for me? Mark had raised his voice for the first time. I work 10 hours a day, so he has everything, school, clothes, a car he doesn't even appreciate. And now you want me to be his therapist too. I want you to be his father. Not an ATM with a face. After that fight, they didn't speak for 2 days. Elliot noticed, but said nothing. The night the plate shattered, Elliot sat upstairs and listened. He didn't want to, but the walls in their old house were thin, and pain is loud. He knew he was partly to blame. Not entirely, but enough. He felt his parents reaching for each other through him, as if he were the bridge they couldn't build themselves. And he was tired of being that bridge. Tired of choosing sides. Tired of every step he took becoming fuel for their arguments. They used to be a team. 3 against the world. Now they were 3 against each other. He remembered breaking his arm on his bike at age 10. Mom had cried while Dad carried him to the car. Dad hadn't said a word, but his hands shook. In the hospital, they'd sat side by side, holding hands, watching him like he was a miracle they couldn't afford to lose. Where were they now? The next morning, Mark left for work earlier than usual. Linda didn't say a word. Just set his coffee on the table, black, no sugar, the way he liked it. He drank it in silence. Left without kissing her forehead, as he always had. Elliot came downstairs for breakfast at noon, still in his pajamas. Mom, are you and Dad really bad? She looked at him. Her eyes held exhaustion, but something else, too. Hope? We just forgot how to listen to each other. What if I leave? What? Linda's head snapped up. Like, for college. It's a year away. But what if I go early? A summer program. Or just go. She felt her heart clench. You want to leave because it's bad here? I want to leave because I think you'd be better off without me. Maybe you'd start listening to each other again if you weren't fighting about me. Linda stood, walked over, and hugged him so tightly he nearly couldn't breathe. Never. Never think you're the problem. You're the reason we're still here, even when we're failing. That evening, Mark came home with a bouquet, not roses, the kind you see in movies, but simple wildflowers, daisies and lavender, the kind Linda used to plant in their garden when they first bought the house. She stood by the window. Didn't turn. I'm not sorry for what I said, she said. But I am sorry for how I said it. Me too, he replied. I thought I was working for the family. But really, I was just running away from it. They sat at the kitchen table. No dinner. No phones. Just looking at each other. We're losing him, Linda whispered. No, Mark said. We already lost ourselves. He's just the reflection of that. The next day, Mark didn't go to work. Instead, he knocked on Elliot's door. Can I come in? Yeah. He stepped inside. His son sat at his desk, sketching in a notebook. You draw? I didn't know. You don't know a lot of things, Dad. Mark sat on the edge of the bed. Tell me. Everything. Even if it's stupid. Even if it's angry. Just tell me. Elliot looked at him, truly looked, for the first time in months, without a mask. I'm scared you'll divorce. Why? Because, if you can't handle each other, how will you handle me? Mark took a deep breath. We're not perfect. Never were. But we love you. And each other. We just forgot how to show it. Then show it. Now. Not with gifts. Not with it's fine. But for real. That night, they ate dinner together for the first time in a year. No phones. No silence. Elliot talked about a kid at school who mocked him for drawing. Linda shared how she missed feeling supported. Mark admitted his fear of not being a good enough father. No one interrupted. No one defended themselves. They just listened. After dinner, Mark suggested a walk. They stepped into the garden. Linda took his hand. Elliot walked slightly behind, but didn't drift away. Can we start over? Mark asked. Not over, Linda said. Just differently. By listening. Elliot moved closer. I want to listen too. And be listened to. The next morning, Mark woke early. Made pancakes, strawberry pancakes, the kind Elliot loved as a kid. Linda brought coffee. Elliot came downstairs, still in pajamas, but smiling. They sat at the table. No one threw a plate. No one left. They just ate. Talked. Stayed together. Because sometimes, to save a family, you don't need grand gestures. You just need to stop pretending everything's okay. And start speaking the truth, even when it hurts.